Good morning, REC Nation. Welcome to the Brunch with REC. How are we all doing today? I am currently in the Shops at Don Mills, our head office. It's a gloomy Saturday, but it's okay. We're all here together, and we're going to make the best of it. I'm looking forward to double-digit temperatures coming. And today we're going to have a special show. So for everyone who doesn't know myself, my name is Tyler Walbourne, or Tai as Simos and Jas call me. And I'm in our real estate coaching division. This is the second Brunch with REC that I've hosted. And the segment that I like to call it anyways is called Real Stories from Real Investors. Last time I had Ray and Joanna on, and they spoke about their portfolio and how they were able to grow from buying their private residence to their first multifamily and really scaling up and now doing raises with other investors to get a larger portfolio now. What we're going to be doing now for this segment, we're going to have Bobby Pume on and join us. And if he's here, Bobby, you can come on and join. He is the VP of REC Canada, and he runs team operations. Hey, Bobby, I see you here. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, Ty. Thanks for having me, my man.
I love the REC swag.
Simos called me, yelled at me, says, if you're going on there, you better have an REC shirt on.
So I've been with REC now for 7 or 8 years, and I just find that my whole wardrobe is just transitioned into REC swag now. I have a drawer dedicated to this REC.
It's a perk that nobody told me about, I guess, right? So I've been here about 3 years now. I guess I'm into my 3rd year. And
yeah,
I just have another drawer full of REC t-shirts as well.
It is a perk for sure. You don't have to go shopping anymore. You can just rock REC stuff all the time.
Don't even have to think about it. I love it.
You got the toques, the hats, the jackets, got it all. So Bobby has the privilege of running the team operations with our 52 or over 50 plus realtors now with REC. And we're growing a lot. How is that going, Bobby?
It's amazing. I'm always super humbled by the number of agents that see what our agents are out in the world doing, helping investors, helping investors just in general. So whether it's with their investments, whether it's with their residential needs for themselves, but we take phone calls 10 times weekly. The DMs on Instagram just blow up with other agents looking to come in and join, the family, see what we're doing, how we do what we do. So we get to be ultra selective in that as well. And I also sort of hang our hats on that too, right? So people that understand what the needs of an investor are then the best fits for, coming aboard with REC Canada and helping people then accomplish what their goals are in investment real estate. So it's wonderful. I love it.
It's challenging too, right? Like it's, there's a lot of realtors that work just in Toronto or the Greater Toronto area alone. And, not everyone's investment focused. And I would imagine, with yourself, Simos and Jas, finding the right investment specialist that can service, all the different types of asset classes is, it's hard to find sometimes, and who focus on what REC tries to bring to the forefront, which is value first.
Exactly. So like education in real estate first, right? How do I liken this? I actually think that 95, 96, 97% of realtors don't do this particular thing. And it's sort of the same percentage.
Oh, there he is. Are you back, Bobby? Can you hear me?
Did I cut out? Oh my goodness.
You cut out a little bit, but
I don't know what's going on. Am I on?
Realtor. Oh, I think we cut out a little bit here. Can everybody hear me? If you can see me, if you can hear me, let me know. Just put it into the comments. I want to make sure that everyone can hear us. But this show, what we're going to be talking about today, after all of the introductions with Bobby and the team, we've had a really good first quarter with our REC insiders. We've had some very active investors get into the pre-construction market, as well as the commercial multifamily and that freehold or resale market as well. And we wanted to highlight a few of the opportunities that some of our insiders have invested into. If you can hear me, let me know. Just put it into the comments, and Bobby will be joining us shortly. Hey, Bobby, welcome back.
Hi.
I was just telling everyone that we're going to be going over today a few opportunities. Some of our investors and REC insiders have been very active in the first quarter for 2022, and we're starting to see that more and more ramp up. You know, Jas and Simeon talked about it with last brunch. The biggest question that I field, you know, having the real estate action plan conversations, and I'm sure you're hearing it from the realtors as well as the investors you speak with, is the rising interest rates. And it's something that, you know, as a whole in the market, what I'm noticing anyways, is that it's increasing some of the days on market for the listings.
Yep.
And also it's reducing the amount of multiple offer situations that we're seeing. So it might not be, you know, that great for someone who's looking to get, 100 offers on the property now as a listing. But as an investor, I'm seeing more and more of our REC insiders strike and not have to compete with so many end users, which is a little bit harder to compete against, right? As an investor, you have your bottom line, you work your performas, you know what the rents are in the market are going to dictate. But with an end user who's going to be living there for 20, 25, 30 years, they can justify spending $100,000 more in a purchase price. To them, you know, it increases their monthly mortgage rate by, you know, a few $100 maybe, but over the long term, they won't really see that difference. But as an investor, it's a make or break.
Yeah, that right there is literally the difference between an asset and a liability, right? If I'm moving in to a primary residence and it's like I have to do what I have to do in order to acquire, then okay, I guess I have to be okay with what that's going to cost me. But as an investor, you put it down on paper, and if it works for you, you've got an asset on your hands. And if you don't, you have to understand the risks of a liability in that regard. So you're totally right. We see more opportunity all of a sudden because people are backing away. We don't have to go as high to compete, right?
So I did a quick search, and one of the markets that I look at, and I know a lot of our REC insiders, one of the opportunities we're going to be talking about today, that one of our insiders purchased, was in Hamilton in that Brantford area. I did a quick search on just Hamilton pure current listings that have 2 kitchens or more that are around that are listed under 800,000. We have about 70 current active listings on the market right now in Hamilton that is under 800,000. And we're going to show a performer today for a duplex that was purchased under 800,000 that conservatively is getting $600 a month in positive cash flow, which is, it's, you know, in this market, it's unheard of, right? So the reason why, you know, we're going to have this conversation today is that I think it's really important that investors do go out there, REC insiders do go out there, at least take a look in a few different micro markets just to see what's going on on the residential resale side.
Absolutely. I think it makes for a great diversified portfolio. You can add some of the pre-con with Jas, right? We go out and find a lot of those, but we also then have I'm getting messages right now from Brooke, one of our agents, right? Saying like, hey, I'm out on the road. This is great that you guys are talking about it because I'm doing this right now. So you can add a diversified asset to your portfolio here.
Yeah, she's great. Like, she's such a shark, eh?
Exactly. I love her. So it's wonderful.
It's been good. And just to kind of touch back, because we did cut out a little bit in regards to the REC team, specifically for the typical residential investments, the townhomes, single family homes, resale condos, duplexes and triplexes, let's say. What's our area of focus? Where do our realtors go to?
Yeah, so I think we go as far east as what I'm going to say is Bowmanville, but I've had people going out to Belleville, Kingston in the past.
Yeah.
I would say Brantford on the west side, but even then, right, like Sumit, who's another just wonderful, wonderful man, one of our team members. He's been to London recently with people.
Yeah.
And then we go from the lake all the way to Aurelia and even a little bit farther north. That's the power of having 52 individuals, boots on the ground in the greater GTA. So
yeah, it is really good, right? And it just, I find anyways, especially with the ones in Aurelia, Barrie, and even Brantford, we're just seeing different types of opportunities that come up that usually in the GTA, are priced out for a lot of investors, which is great.
I think that investors need to wrap their heads around the fact that what I've just mentioned to you, from call it Bowmanville to Hamilton to Aurelia, realistically is the GTA now.
Yes.
Like with sprawl, right? So it's just that no individual market is going to perform in the same way, right? You can't go to Forest Hill and buy $10 million homes and then expect to have them cash flow in the same way that you can't expect Forest Hill pricing to be relevant in Hamilton. Like, it just isn't.
100%. And it's interesting, and it's something like we're seeing. I pulled up a few stats here. We're seeing in Urbanation reports coming out. So the next Brunch with REC, Jas and Sabine are going to be discussing this, but we're seeing a 69% a monthly increase in active listings, right? And that's exactly it. More opportunities for investors. They're able to now strike and to get in. And for anyone who is interested potentially in just seeing what's out there, running some numbers on some opportunities, let us know. Send us an email, info@REC Canada. It's probably, other than speaking with the REC insiders, the favorite part of my job is just to crunch numbers. And it's real estate porn, right? And it's just constantly just crunching numbers, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. And things hit your desk sometimes, and like the opportunity you're living in, right? And how is that going? Let's talk a little bit about what your current real estate opportunity is.
My current living status is that I'm in the COVID-19 second office at the house, right? So it's actually just the bedroom. If I unblur the screen, there's the bedroom in the background. But no. So like we approached Laura and I, Laura Kinsman, my Laura. And I approached REC Canada back in 2019 about purchasing in the city of Toronto. Laura's job was bringing her here, and we don't buy real estate unless we can turn it into an asset. So again, that difference between asset and liability, right? So it was our goal to then embark upon turning it into a 2-unit dwelling, is what the city of Toronto calls it. So we permitted up, we did everything that we needed to do. We now have a finished unit in the basement that we can take to rent anytime. Okay. But back in like the early pandemic here, as interest rates dropped, right, we sort of took advantage of it. We refinanced out any money that we put in, both the down payment and the renovation side of it.
Back in your pocket.
Right. It's back in our pocket. So we've effectively never paid for our now 2-unit dwelling. I'm going to call it a duplex. It's easier than 2-unit dwelling.
Yeah.
Right. But then we started looking around, and we see prices increasing in the marketplace and tons of competition. And then all of a sudden things are selling like hotcakes, and interest rates rise. So like we're totally, we should touch on it later, maybe Ty, but like we're totally secure with where we're at the moment. We understand that when we place a renter, right, we're going to be completely fine, right? They're going to pay a majority of what we have going on. And we've accepted the fact that this is more liability at the moment than it is asset. But then we've taken steps more recently to look into what the garden suite legislation is in the city of Toronto. Yeah. And we now have, as of yesterday, we have our first set of drawings for a garden suite out the back. So that
amazing.
It's super interesting when we didn't think maybe about it in the very beginning with the purchasing, right? Like, is the lot big enough? Is it going to allow us to expand in that way? But as we looked more and more into it, right, the realization was that, like, yeah, totally. And now it's not a 2-unit dwelling or a duplex, it's a 3-unit dwelling as we go ahead. And we've increased equity by, I'm just going to say, $1 million based on the ability to do that. The market has helped a little bit. We're super secure in understanding that the interest rates are going to rise, and we're not going to panic into locking in or anything like that. But effectively,
fixed rates is over 4%. So it's,
exactly,
you're still going to win on the variable.
You have the ability to stay in your variable rate mortgage, right, for 3, 4, 5 more increases before you even touch on that. You're buying yourself a year. And the way that it normally works, at least, is that, like, our payment hasn't changed. So our interest rates are rising, right? But our payments haven't changed. Normally, it just tips the scale a little bit. You were paying more principal, now you're paying a little bit less. You were paying less interest, now you're paying a little bit more. But as an investor, we don't care. That's just a write-off for us.
Exactly.
So sure, we understand that rising costs are happening, but it's then limiting what the rest of the market can do. We could go back into the market with the money, or in our case, we're taking the money to the backyard, adding more value. We'll take some of that money then when we have the garden suite finished, refinance those dollars back to us, and go buy more.
And you had the advantage of 2 years with the low interest rates of paying off more principal at that time.
I think that's the mindset that every investor needs to take, is like, hey, we had an incredible run, and maybe it's not the last time we'll ever see that, but for now it's done. And we just have to be able to identify the next best advantage for ourselves, which is, sure, interest rates are rising, tax deduction time, right? So
yeah, exactly. And going back to the garden suite, this growth, what typically is the process of, putting in a garden suite for your house? And
Ty, can you hear me?
We might have cut out there.
Am
Bobby,
I back?
can you hear me?
Am I
Yeah,
back?
you're back. No, I was just asking about the garden suite. What is the, the process of adding that third unit to your property?
So it's actually been pretty straightforward. We happen to live in a TRCA protected zone, so this wouldn't apply to everybody. But we have to take one extra step to make sure that we're environmentally compliant. So it's a bit of back and forth. It's a bit of email. Laura and I have taken that portion of it on ourselves. We're through that process. So it's like a pre-permitting application. That's it.
Yeah.
And then we embark upon the architect to you sort of pay for these things. We've paid a little bit of money at the moment. It'll be a little bit more later, right? But this is to get then drawings. We have them submitted to the city. Those are turned around. It's no different than building out the basement suite. Realistically, It's all the same process from beginning to end. I think we've been at it for about 4 months so far. And by the end of the summer, I'm hopeful by the end of the summer, it's completely built. If not, it'll be the end of the year. So all told, I think that we're going to take 1 year to do this thing. And that 1 year will allow us, again, I think it's $1 million in equity. I think we're right around $1 million value right now, right? Maybe a little bit more. I know we refinanced it a little bit more than that. And it's not, again, like these are just numbers. I'm not saying it to impress anybody, right? But I do think then that we have to understand the difference between stored equity, right? And lost equity, if you will, right? Debt equity. Yep. But we're totally fine with it. Like we never need to sell. We've never paid for anything. So we have $1 million of equity locked up here. It cash flows positively for us, or we remove that cash flow and take portions of that $1 million. So
and then with the garden suite, is the plan to have a short-term renter in there, or is it going to be like a traditional tenant, a year lease?
I get this question a lot from insiders, right? Like they say, well, I would love to put a basement unit in, but I'm worried that it won't cash flow. So I feel like I'm going to go Airbnb. I feel like I'm going to go Verbo, right? Yep. And I tell them like, no, personal opinion here is that I would stay away from that. I see all the struggles that people have with running the business of a short-term rental. You are, in fact, like I like to say this, and no offense to anybody, right? But like I like to say, you're a teacher, you're an engineer, you're a cop, whatever it is, right? You're not then running another business for yourself as people embark upon this.
It's a lot of management for the short-term rental side.
And I think, Ty, like, so if we go ahead and put some long-term renters in here, we create stable housing for people, clean, affordable, safe housing for people. And those are the three real pillars of what you need to be able to do as an investor for someone else. So when we place them in there, people are willing to pay a premium for that. When you buy right and you're close to transit and you do all of the other things that Jas and Simos are always talking about, economic centers, all of those things combined, and you've provided clean, safe, affordable housing, long-term renters makes you bulletproof in the marketplace. Right?
100%.
You got to pick the right people. Don't get me wrong, right? But it does.
Yeah, and also it's a brand new suite, right? It's a new build. It's going to look really good, I would imagine, and I'm looking forward to see it actually.
It's going to be fun. We're going to document the whole thing, right? From beginning of construction. We're going to have you over here. We're going to selfies and videos. It's going to be great.
We'll have a nice barbecue. We'll do a tour for sure.
In the construction pit, we'll have a nice barbecue.
Instead of selling Sunset, it's selling REC with Bobby and Ty. That's it.
Aren't the people on Selling Sunset much better looking than you and I? I would imagine. So.
Yeah. Well, they don't have a Simos though. That's the only thing they're missing there.
That's so true. So true.
What a wild show. So let's go into a few opportunities because, I think you were cut out at the time that I was speaking about this, but our REC insiders on the purchase side, so investors acquiring more opportunities, I think we've had the best first quarter REC's ever had on that side of the residential and multifamily transactions. We've been very active on the residential side, and more is coming with more buyers currently out there. We have some in Barrie right now looking at student housing, some in Waterloo, Hamilton, as well as for my real estate action plan calls. And we wanted to pull up two specific real opportunities that our investors purchased. And Stephen, if you don't mind pulling up the opportunities here, we have one that's in Whitby and then one in Hamilton. This one was a duplex in Whitby. And Bobby, just to recall, I know you actually ran the numbers a little bit on this one. We're not going to go over obviously address and the investor who purchased it, but this is one that Zach Galbraith, one of our Durham experts, did help acquire and is going through the process right now of helping rent out. Let's talk about this one a little bit. So this one, if you can look at the opportunity itself, the purchase price, and I'm just pulling it up on my side so I can see a little bit more. The purchase price on this opportunity was $1.3 million. It's a duplex, but it's actually similar to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And let's expand on that a little bit. What is this investor looking to do in this opportunity?
So the investor himself tasked Zach, our guy, with finding him a place that had 2 units that were established already, that he could add a third to. So in speaking with Zach about things that we were doing at our place, and then like looking into common legislation coming to the marketplace, he was able to identify this one for garden suite purposes. So the same thing is going to apply that I'm doing at my place as what now this investor can do at theirs. Mm-hmm. So they acquired, and then bits and bits of touch-ups. I know that they've had a couple of contractors in and out in order to put the old lipstick on, I suppose. Yep. Make it a little bit cleaner, make it a little bit safer, right? Not that this isn't a bad area whatsoever, right? But it's handrails, it's new paint, it's flooring, it's a sump pump, little things like that. Yep. And then they're about to embark upon the permitting process for the other side as well. But in speaking with Zach yesterday, right? I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. I know that they've now fully tenanted the duplex portion of this as well. So 2 long-term renters, the numbers there are exact, right? We made sure to go through these before the show today.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just works. So now adding Simos put this beautifully to me yesterday, right? Or to somebody that I was around. He said, sure, you can go off and buy a condo at $750K, right? And you're going to place your 150, and you're going to you're probably going to win. We'll vet those processes for you and all of that stuff. Or you could take that 150 and use it to build in the backyard like Bobby's doing, or like this particular investor's doing, right? And add value in that way. You're going to create $600,000 worth of value for yourself by spending the 150 in a different way. And you're then going to have a third tenant, an effective triplex. When everything is said and done here, you've got a bulletproof asset that you probably never paid for. You've refinanced all your own money out, and you can ride off into the sunset knowing that generationally you keep it 25 years and move forward as you see fit, right?
Yeah, and I think investors need to definitely diversify, right? New build opportunities is great when it comes to the extended deposit structure, very passive of an investment, and you're capitalizing early on an area as a whole developmentally, trying to get in early into the master plan community. But when it comes to opportunities like this, there's something that you don't get in a pre-construction condo or a townhome opportunity, is that you can really get some good active appreciation in this.
You've nailed the word exactly, right? I think it's just more active.
Yeah.
I think that for that teacher, that engineer that don't want to touch a single thing ever, right? The pre-construction world is an amazing way to go and build wealth. You're going to accomplish many of the same things. But when you have a little bit more time or the desire to be active in the marketplace, this type of thing is exactly where you can be landing.
Yeah. Oh, and if someone has the ability to do both, is probably what we would recommend. Capitalize on securing something in the next 4 or 5 years to close on in an area that has a lot of growth, depending on the factors that we spoke about a little bit earlier. And also at the same time, because the pre-construction condo doesn't actually show up when you do get a mortgage for a current opportunity, why don't you capitalize on today's market as well? Let's get into something, let's put in some work. And by the time you're in a position to close, potentially you could leverage the asset that you bought today.
Yeah,
for that closing.
Potentially. And I think that you can do a bunch of different things. Given options, I think that anybody knows that more options are better than fewer, right? So it's when you do something like this particular investor is going to be cash flow positive.
Yeah.
Right. But by the time that condo comes down the line, So when you're cash flow positive and it then helps you with the potential of cash flow negativity at your condo in 3-4 years, right? One balances the other, and all of a sudden you're shooting your portfolio ahead by $500,000-$600,000 worth of equity value.
You're kind of creating a self-enclosed system, right? Where your cash flow positive properties are the ones that are sustaining any negative cash flow that comes from pre-construction or new build, and then on the new build side, you're getting that that really big passive appreciation bump. So it's great in the if somebody could do something like this, right? And
I think that's exactly where like you and I would talk to an investor and say, like, real estate works in a vacuum. It does. That's what a pro forma is. It'll show you what it does here, right? But you have to be able to take that vacuum and then apply it in the real world and say, like, hey, can we actually get it done? And by the time these things roll around, like, time is the big healing factor in real estate. The longer you hold, the better it gets.
yes.
So the longer you hold something like this, or your condo for that matter, everything stabilizes and you just continue to win over time. People need to understand that you're not buying for the massive appreciated value, right? Sure, when the market helps, it's amazing and like you jump way farther ahead. But if this particular investor never saw a penny more than the $1.3 million, he's won already in the marketplace. He has this asset that then somebody else pays for, and it pays him $450 a month to own it. He's got a bank account working in the background of 1.3 million. You can expand upon that in any way that you want. Buy more real estate, take it to the bank, whatever you want to be able to do. But he doesn't actually need to see any more appreciated value.
And right? You're recouping it, right? Paying off the mortgage. So your $350,000 that you put into the property is going to net turn back into, even if things stay the same, $1.3 million. Exactly. In fact, it's actually going to be more because this investor is adding a suite to the backyard. So I'm really happy about this one. This is one that when you let me know and Zach let me know about the opportunity and the investor who purchased it, it's to me anyways, seeing $500 a month net positive cash flow, plus everything else that we spoke about with the active and passive appreciation, as well as that principal recapture is great. I'm happy for them.
This one, let's temper expectations too, right? I think that Zach and this particular investor really surprised themselves. They took 90 days to identify the right property. They were out a lot. Right?
They were looking at a few areas, right?
They were. And when they finally narrowed it down, they narrowed it down on factors like, where can we maximize rents? Where do we have the path of least resistance to the garden suite? And that's all work that, like, I honestly just don't think that a majority of realtors can even work through with people. So it was just wonderful to see it all come to fruition, right?
Oh, Bobby. Uh-oh. Yeah, it might have been me this time.
Ty, I do 1,000 Zoom calls a week and they never freeze. I get on with you.
We're also going through renovations in the office, so there might be something there. Gotcha. But these listings are coming up, and the ability, and I think maybe the foresight for investors wanting to do it now. Are you seeing that it's easier to apply for the garden suite and to get it approved now, just because more and more investors are doing it?
So yes and no. It had been passed City of Toronto wide, so I can't speak to Whitby, to Guelph, to Brantford. Yeah. I don't know. Regulations are different. City of Toronto, it went wide. It was published. It was approved. They had their first set of guidelines, and I know that tons of applications went in. And then some politics happened, and they pulled it back. And it will go through it's an eventuality kind of thing. But they thought that maybe they needed some more revamping on the types of properties that were allowed to have them. I don't think that they narrowed down enough into, like, can an apartment building then add a bunch of garden suites, and the regulation didn't say that they could or could not. So it became a bit of a thing, but it's no different than a laneway home, right? Yeah. I think that if you are a savvy enough investor, you're going to understand the value of what those two things can be. And you're probably paying out of pocket something like $200,000 to $400,000 total to add $600,000, $800,000, $1 million worth of equity over time. So it's just about what one of our oldest friends say, Ty, like, the best deal that you'll ever find is the one that you create.
Yeah.
right? That's what a garden suite is. You're just creating.
And especially if you already have the property, you own the asset. you have the thing that everybody is competing for, right? So,
Yeah.
Which is great. So the next opportunity is not a garden suite conversion. It's a traditional duplex that our investors bought in Hamilton. And Stephen, if you don't mind pulling that one up, it's the Hamilton opportunity. Oh, we have it here. So this one did go, I believe, into multiple offer situation, but they ended up getting it accepted at $790,000. It was a turnkey duplex in Hamilton. The rents that we see here, so the monthly rent of $3,500 a month, and it might be hard for our investors or our REC insiders to see this. So if anyone actually does want the performance, let us know. We'll be able to maybe send something out. But the monthly gross rental income is actually low. So I ran the numbers at 3,500, but I believe they were able to actually get it at 3,950.
You're right. Yes, sir.
And this changes the cash flow to about $600 a month or so for a traditional duplex. And these are things that we were seeing in 2015, 2016, but 2017 on in the GTA it's really hard to find, and we're now seeing opportunities come up like this.
Yeah, I think the most impressive portion of this one, Ty, was that it did go to multiples, and I don't believe that we were the highest bid. Mm-hmm. We were just the cleanest, and we had the best negotiator possible into it, right? So, like, shout out to Brooke again in this particular regard, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the highest offer in some cases. It doesn't have to be all sorts of things that are misinformation out in the marketplace. This was just savvy investorship with a very strong negotiation, and it got the deal done. So people need to understand that these opportunities are out there. We just happen to know where to look, and I think that we do this better than most. So I'm super proud of that part.
And it's about taking a shot at an opportunity. Yeah. And if someone is blowing you out of the water with the purchase price, another buyer, let them. There's going to be other opportunities hitting the market. It's never, especially as an investor, it's all about having the emotion away from everything, running the numbers, being conservative with it. Like this one is 3,500 is what we had on the pro forma, but it outperformed it. And it's all about just taking a calm approach to it. If you lose out on 50 offers, you lose out on 50 offers. You're going to get the 51st one.
You have to use your competitive advantage as an investor, which is this number, right? Like looking at that pro forma, I would say to people, there's $350 worth of cash flow there. That means that I believe we could go $50,000 higher. Do we or do we not? Right. But Bobby, the end user, is going to come in and say, like, I love it. I'm attached to it. Like I'm going to blow this out of the water. I'm going to pay $1 million for it. Yeah. And you see that a lot in the marketplace, but we don't have to act that way. We have.
And these buyers have been competing for a year, maybe some of them, right? So they're sick of losing.
They get fatigued. They just want something. Do you know how many times I hear that story? Like, I overpaid. I know I did. Right. There's an age old adage in that too. The buyer is always going to feel like they pay too much. The seller is always going to feel like they didn't get enough. But you as an investor know this is what it is. It can perform this way. We have to stick to our guns. And they, like in this particular case, they did. I think that Brooke actually went out and said, I don't like that purchase price. I think it can be better. And then negotiated it down. Right. Yeah.
It's great. Like some of the conversations we have with her, and like she helped my dad buy. So my dad bought a 2-bedroom condo in Hamilton. And if someone's looking at an opportunity, I would personally, because of the development that's happening in Hamilton right now, pre-construction side, I would look at some resale condos in downtown Hamilton. Right now, we know pre-construction condos in downtown Hamilton are selling at about $1,000, $1,050 a foot. You can get a condo right now, a resale condo, at $750. My dad bought it under $700 a foot, price per square foot in Hamilton. You know that the appreciation is going to go there. People are paying those prices, and that's something, just something I'm looking at anyways, is resale condos in Hamilton. I think the rents are increasing over the past, they had their 28% year over year growth sale wise in value, but rents are increasing that same trajectory there. They're catching up to other GTA markets.
Exactly. So like again, as an investor, you can take the appreciation approach, right? Not tack it to your credit bureau, go pre-construction and do those types of deals. Or like you're saying, Ty, go ahead, right? Easily stabilize something that you're getting value in today and holding it long term.
Yeah.
So it's again, it's the chicken and the egg for some people, right? It's just the flip side of the coin for the others. They're just two small different investments that then create a very nice symbiotic like portfolio, right?
When I do the real estate action plan, and the next time I'm going to be on the brunch with REC, I'm going to go back to having, one of our REC insiders on, and we're going to go through their portfolio and the challenges. But it's essentially, I break it into 3 segments. So the first segment is learning more about who the investor currently is, what's their past portfolio, how is it performing, what is it that you like, and what is it that you don't like in your current portfolio and your opportunities, and as well, obviously, capital and registered and non-registered, accounts.
Yep.
My second segment, and the reason why I bring it up is while you're speaking, I was thinking about the conversations I'm having with REC insiders and investors. The second segment is your goals in real estate. What are you trying to accomplish short term and long term? And I always ask the first question I ask. I put my hand up, and it's way better that we're on Zoom because I also do this when I'm on a phone call and I'm just sitting here in the office, just flailing my hands around. But I ask, in my one hand, I have the passive appreciation. Mm-hmm. And I have, finding a market that is going to be increasing long-term based off of future development, based off of current growth in transit, the tenant profile and employment. So we have passive appreciation. And then on my other hand, I have cash flow. And, a lot of the time when I'm speaking, that's the first question I ask, and then the conversation kind of organically flows. But I'm noticing now that because of our REC insiders and how savvy they are as investors and getting into markets, now investors are looking more towards that other side, which is some cash flow. Okay. And my next question after that is why is it that you need cash flow? And I'm finding sometimes there's 2 major motivations to cash flow. One is because they have a current portfolio and they're not doing well on that side in regards to generating some cash flow in their other properties. So they're looking for something to to at least offset any vacancy, repair, renovation that we spoke about first. And the other reason I hear a lot anyways is that investors want to transition out of their typical 9-to-5 job, and they want to go and focus more on managing their portfolio. And it's funny because some investors think that if they transition out of their 9-to-5, that means they're having less work. The reality is you're working way harder on your portfolio, always trying to scale, always trying to grow and deal with the challenges and ups and downs that come with real estate. But having cash flow is important for investors that are looking to do that and getting it before they make the switch into out of their 9-to-5, because financing's, if you don't have any stable income coming in, you can have as much capital as you want in the bank. If you're not buying the property outright, lenders won't touch you. Right. So having cash flow is important in that side.
Yep. Look, cash flow is king, right? It makes you bulletproof in the marketplace. You can go off, you can do many more things. You're never paying out of pocket. It's truly an asset versus a liability. But for anybody looking to retire like that, I would actually just caution you, you've got to be very careful here. It's you need enough time in the marketplace for it to do its thing. Yeah. Right? Time is the great healer. You're going to look, you want it today, you're going to look back in 5 years and say, I was just impatient. Okay. That's coming from somebody who's done it for more than 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. It's actually coming from Jas and Simos and our friends like Scott McGilvery, everybody that would say those things. Right.
Yeah.
But cash flow isn't always stacked. It doesn't always stack up the best way. Right. The example would be, Ty, if I had $500 in cash flow at the moment, that equals about $100,000 lending power to me. Okay. One for the other. One of those things is tax-free. One of them isn't. Right. One of those things equals something like $6,000 a year to me, or $100,000 to me.
Yes.
Right. So it's you've got to be savvy enough to understand that there are plenty of mechanisms, right? Interest rates, mortgages, rents, they're all tools in your tool belt. When you know then how to leverage each one of those things properly into the maximum leverage points for yourself as an investor, you're the one who wins. So That's where a pro forma comes in. That's where buying those assets today come in. That's where getting your boots on the ground with an agent that understands how to run those things for you will then push you forward farther than you thought you could go. That's what happens.
100%. And we had a question come in from, I think it was Karen. It came in a little bit ago asking if REC does have handle property management for these types of properties. We personally, I find that we're better at finding the opportunities and, helping facilitate everything that our REC insiders need, helping find a local contractor, helping find the mortgage broker, making sure the real estate lawyer and the mortgage broker and the investor are speaking to one another. But we just partnered up with a good property management company that could help. And I know I'm making some introductions, Karen. So if you do need a good property management company, and Bobby, you know more about RPM, which is the property management company. Yeah. Where's their the area of focus? Where do they work?
So the beauty of this, Ty, is that RPM, Real Property Management, right, is nationwide.
Oh, which is amazing.
Which is why we chose them, right?
Yeah.
We want to be able to say, like, look, when Jas and Simos get excited about something in Edmonton, we want to make sure that our REC insiders are taken care of. In the same way that we want to be able to send Zach to Whitby and Brooke to Hamilton, right? They can find tenants as well. Like, they're very, very good at this. Okay. And if you need help with those properties because you are a teacher, you are an engineer, and you don't want to then manage those things, we can make introductions to RPM because they're boots on the ground everywhere as well.
Yeah, so for the day-to-day management.
We were finding that, so I was trying to help run the property management side on with REC Canada, and it's not our expertise, to be fair, right? Like, and while we're good at it, we're not great at it, and we want the best for our people. Yeah, right? We want to make sure that investment is as stable as possible. So, Karen, I think the answer to your question is, yeah, we can help, right? We'll make some great introductions for you, and that's where you'll be able to go. You'll work with the best of the best.
Yeah, and then send us an email to info@REC Canada. We have a real estate concierge division, which is one that I'm part of, and I've had the privilege of speaking with a lot of our REC insiders about finding roofers and contractors, property managers. But if you're just looking to help, source out and screen a tenant, we actually have two types of, rental assistance on that side for REC. We have the hands-on and hands-off approach. And if you're just looking for a rental analysis, what's the comparative market analysis for your current, single family home or duplex? If you want to a fresh set of eyes on the listing, the verbiage, the photos, as well on the other side, if you want us to help you screen the prospective tenant and draw up a lease, there's no cost to work with REC on that side. If you want someone to actually manage it fully for you and find the tenant, at that point, we can have one of our REC rental specialists assist.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Bobby, we started at the beginning. The team's busy. We're very active, and we have boots to the ground. What's coming up for the team? What do we have on the go here?
Oh, I think that we're going to add a couple of new faces coming up again. I'm super excited and humbled that people view us that way, that we can be a place where they can grow what they do, their knowledge base, to be able to help more and more people. And currently, I think that we've got more than a dozen individuals out working with agents looking for income generating properties in the resale marketplace. It's none of these things are a layup. They don't just present them with floor plans and you get to say yes because of our leverage in the market, right? This is hard work in some cases. And by hard work, I mean our agents are so good at this that they're going to present things to you. You're going to have great decisions to be making, and it's going to take some time. But given the right amount of time, I think that anything can be great, right? Time really is the big healer in real estate. So
100% up and down, upwards, right? So
right, exactly. So I'm just really excited where our team is at, where we're going to be able to go. I know that we run trainings every Thursday morning. Simos and myself, working through some of these issues that we're seeing in the marketplace, how we then mitigate issues for people, risk, all of the other things. So you couldn't be working with a better group of people. I'm super proud to be able to say that I even have a chance to work with them on a daily basis.
Yeah. I just wear the REC swag to my daughter's birthdays. She started so I have a little bit of news I didn't even speak about. I welcomed my second little one into the world. Her name is Sawyer. and she's born March 11th, so she's almost 2 months now, and it's been great. But Nora, my oldest one, she's starting soccer in June, so that's going to be really cute. And I'm gonna try and get like an REC sponsorship or something there. We'll have a little Nora running around with some REC swag as well.
100%. So like normally it's Jas and Simos on one of these things spending each other's money. How about we spend some of their money? And like Nora's soccer team is now the REC Canada soccer team.
Let's go. every time we score a goal, we'll dedicate it to one of our REC insiders.
The Golden Soccer Ball Awards out into the mail.
She's so cute right now. So she's turning 2, and like she's now in the stage like her vocabulary is increasing a lot, and it's really cute to see. And it's like it actually blows my mind. Like was it yesterday? I don't know, but we were cutting bananas or something, and she's like, "Dad, banana cut." I was like, "Do you want to cut the banana too?" Okay. And then we have like a little like fake banana that she can cut. So it's cute, and I can't wait to see her kick the soccer ball and run around with the kids.
How long until she picks up her phone and says pro forma?
Cash flowing properties.
There it is.
She loves it. She likes when working from home and she sees me on the phone. She just wants to talk as well. Yeah. I also know, just going back to the team, we do have some listings coming up too that's investor friendly. And for anyone listening today, not sure if it's the right fit for your portfolio, but if you want to see some performance for some upcoming opportunities that we are going to be hitting the market with, it might give you a competitive edge, right? And send us an email, info@REC Canada. We're always here to to help everyone grow and to scale the way that they want to go. And it's all about having these conversations. And I think that's one of the things that REC, one of my favorite things about REC anyways, is it's not just Jas and Simos saying do this, do that. It's just creating the conversation, having a group open space for everyone to speak and to meet each other. And I can't wait till these renovations here is done. I'm at someone else's office right now. I just found an open office while they were doing construction, and having our REC insiders come by again and doing our quarterly meetups.
I'm super excited for the world opening back up. I went to Jay's game recently. It was wonderful. Nice. Right?
Oh, that's good.
I'm excited to come back in and see you there too, Ty. I haven't seen you in like 6 months.
Yeah, I know. I was at working from home for a month because Sawyer. Yeah. And then we have this like a remote office downstairs as well, which is great. It's called Lofts. If anyone's at the Shops at Don Mills, they just opened up. It's a satellite office. You just log in with your phone. They have an app, and it's a good space. But I just can't wait to have our area again. And it's going to be great. It's going to look really good. I saw it yesterday. I finally get a standing desk, which is what I've asked for. Nice. I just, how I like, people could see it here. I'm just, I move around a lot. And even when I'm on the phones, I try to make 50 calls a day to our insiders and to check in. And we have Alistair now, part of that as well. And he's doing it. And I'm always walking around. I just, I talk with my hands, and I make sure that I keep my headset on. So everyone could just, get out of my way really when I'm just swerving around talking.
Just get out of there with your Green Bay Packers football and just forearm shivers. Yeah.
The hockey sack's coming this time. I'm just gonna kick the hockey sack around while we're having real estate conversations. So just to kind of close off, and Bobby, I'll let you close it off afterwards. But I do want to say, everyone, thank you for joining us. I hope I've brought in some value there. But if anybody would like to have a conversation with us, with our real estate coaching division, I said at the beginning, and I'm going to say it now. Today, tomorrow, the next week or so is a time to strike and to see some opportunities. Get out there, go see some. Speak with your mortgage broker first, obviously, to see what you can be pre-approved for and what works best. Once we get an idea of your affordability and the types of opportunities you're comfortable with, we can really zone in on an area, a micro market. We can introduce you to one of our experts, and we can go see. It's always so fun to see.
Yeah. It's Ty. I couldn't say it any better, honestly. Like I'm always so honored, so humbled that people trust us with this type of thing. It's how we get to where we're going. We're super blessed to have every one of you watching and coming in and calling, emailing, all of those things. So please keep it coming. And just know that we work diligently on the other side of this on a day-to-day basis, training,
Yes.
ensuring that these numbers are correct, and just working through all of those things. So keep it coming. Email in. We'll get to show you more things over time. And if you're ready, if you think that you're ready to act, I mean, let's go. That's all we ever say. Let's go, right?
Let's go. Let's go see something. Let's go, take action. And it's I'm really happy that we're seeing some, a little bit less activity when it comes to, buyers, and we're able to actually compete as investors now and not just throw a number out there to see what sticks. We're fundamentally now working pro formas, which is what every investor wants to do. They want a fair shot at an opportunity.
Exactly.
So, thank you for joining us at the Brunch with REC, and Jas and Simon will be back in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.